Beautiful.
Welcome, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the SBA webinar, the panel in order to learn more about our Success Beyond Academics program, brought to you by NSHSS. We're so excited to have you and to tell you a little bit more about our program. We'll let everybody come in and then start in maybe a minute.
Thank you for joining us, wherever you're joining us from.
Yes.
Angelica, do they have an opportunity to share on chat where they are calling in from? Maybe we can interact with them while
I
the
think
few
we
seconds
have
pass.
just for our panelists, unfortunately, but we
Not
do
not for the
have
participants.
yeah.
Okay. When we do the real panel sessions with the participants, we do a lot of chat back and forth with them as well, don't we? But we're going to
We
tell you more
do.
about that in a bit. But thank you all for calling in.
Yes. Okay, I think we have
We've got
everybody coming in.
85.
So
It's a good number.
yeah. Okay, so welcome again to our Success Beyond Academics panel. We're so happy to have you here, and we're so excited that you want to learn more about SBA and NSHSS and what we have to offer. So, Success Beyond Academics is a 10-module, 10-week course that is designed to help students, whether they are entering college, whether they're in their junior or senior year of high school, whether they're in their professional careers, anything in order to elevate them in the professional world. So that is what the main focus of this program is for. It's 10 weeks of just expert level content for you in order for you to learn more about different topics. So as you can see on the screen, there's 10 topics that go along with these 10 modules. And within each one of these topics, there are discussions that you get to learn from peers, you get to learn from experts throughout it. And then also it comes with live sessions where you're able to talk and engage with real world professionals. So it's a really well-rounded program that is designed to help and to elevate you in the professional world. So that is a little bit about SBA. And also a great thing about SBA is that it is designed to fit your schedule. So no matter what you're doing throughout the week, you'll be able to do it at your own pace, at your own timing. So it's just a great way, whether you're in an internship, whether you're in college, whether you're in high school, to fit it to your schedule. So this, again, is a great program, and it's just something that's really cool and something that you'll always need in your professional careers. So a little bit about what we do in SBA, and one of the things that we really highlight is live sessions where we get to talk with industry professionals. And as you can see on the screen right now, we have some really great professionals who will give you a snapshot into what it looks like to be in a live session and what it looks like for students to go through SBA and to be able to engage with real world professionals. So I will let Fabian take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Fabian Di Rosario. I'm joining you from my home office just outside of the city of Atlanta in the United States. And I am pleased to have been the course creator for this 10 module program. The NSHSS, the National Society of High School Scholars, brought me on board about 3.5 years ago, working with a few members of their board who are members of different corporations to formulate a series of very practical skills that we feel you're going to need so that you can immediately shine and excel when you join the workforce. That's what the SBA is all about. I do this professionally. I'm a professional trainer. I have also a background in higher education, worked in higher education for about for 11 years, and then in nonprofit, and then for the past 20 years in consulting. I'm going to pass this over to Madeline Dunn. Tell us about you.
Yes, hello everyone. So yes, I am Madeline or Maddie, either way. I do not have a preference, so genuinely, whatever you remember. And so I am currently a program coordinator at Kennesaw State University. I work in the Department of Student Engagement and Support. That looks like supporting students and getting them to the resources that they need, and making sure that they feel a sense of connection and community on campuses. But my career has been varied. I am still a young professional, but I have been in a variety of different roles. So the vast majority of that has looked like community engagement, event coordination, project management, case management, and higher education coordination. I have a Master of Social Work, so everything is built upon that idea of helping others. And I've worked in a variety of different nonprofits and higher education institutions as well. I'm just so excited to be here with you all today, and I'd love to pass it along.
VP Parker.
Thank you, Fabian. My name is VP Parker. People call me VP because my wife is the president, and that is true. I'm just telling you what is true. I am super happy to be here. Let me share a little bit about myself. I own a consulting company called VP Enterprises and Consulting, and I've been doing that consulting work for 35 years. So much like Maddie, I too am a young professional. Least that's how I see it anyway. I've been working with Fortune 500 companies for 3 decades and really enjoy getting to know each one of those cultures so that I can bring to the table what we call organizational development. So how do I help those organizations move from where they are to get to the next place of success? And so sometimes they like to have a consultant come in, do some analysis, take a look at what's going on inside of the culture, and make some recommendations about how we might change it, which of course, change management, it's its whole thing. I also do work as a director for a healthcare system where I lead that system, belonging and inclusion initiatives along with learning and development initiatives. So I've got my hands in two different worlds. One is a consulting world and one is a healthcare world. I try to bring all of that together for the good of all of the folks who may come to these sessions. So super happy to have all of you here. Happy to be a resource for all of you. Thanks, Fabian. Thanks, Angelica.
Thank you both. Well, let's get right into it. What do you think, Angelica? If you could show the next slide.
Yes, and also I just wanted to mention that we do have a Q&A tool. So as we're discussing, please feel free to ask questions that you have about the SBA program, and then also ask questions that you have for our panelists.
Wonderful. So they can post those questions, and Angelica, you'll be watching those in the background so that we can spend about 10 minutes towards the end with any questions that people may want to inquire about. So,
Yes.
students, counselors, parents that are listening in, that are watching this, these are the 10 topics of the Success Beyond Academics program. Each of these modules are 1 hour. They're self-directed learning. You do some exercises, watch some videos, and do a little bit of reading. It will occupy about a full hour. Uh, they do that within the week, yeah, at your own schedule. At the end of the first 5 modules, so at the end of the 5th week, we then have a Zoom session with panelists such as VP and Maddie. And if I'm available, I'll also come live on Zoom. And we have a conversation just like how we're going to dive right into. Maddie, I'm going to go to you first because you're very familiar with this course. These are the 10 topics. We selected these because we felt these were important to the students' fundamental professional capabilities. Go anywhere you want. Which of these topics prompts you to think of something? Today, we're going to focus on very practical, immediately applicable skills that they can practice when they enter the professional world. And you could be in school already, maybe having a job, right? A part-time job. You could be in college in a summer internship. But anytime you enter into a professional work environment, here are some advice from our experts today. Maddie, take it away.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you so much. I would love to start with the thing that led me to where I am, the thing that I use as a lens to get me to where I wanted to be in the professional world, and that was my core values. One of the most important and impactful things that I did in college was I took a core values questionnaire. I sat down with a professor at the time who was asking me what I wanted to do with my life. And I had no idea. I truly was through my last year of college, and I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And that guidance that she gave me of looking through my core values really guided me to where I am. And I truly believe I wouldn't be who I am without that. And it has guided me successfully into everything that I've done. One of the most important things that you can do is explore who you are, explore what you want out of your life and what you value most. Everything that you do, whether it be a course that you take or a club that you join, it's going to be based around what you enjoy, what you want to do with your time. And so, one of the best things that I can recommend to anyone is to truly sit down and take a core values quiz, look through those results, and then consider what are things that I can do that support those values, that support those goals. And then from there, it really gives you a guidebook. For me, I care a lot about connections and other people, being in places where I feel supported, being in places where I'm able to help others. That led me to social work. That led me to working in student support. That led me to doing all the things that I enjoy doing in my personal life. And so, if I could give one piece of advice to young people that's simple, easy, the first thing that you should do is really just to explore who you are, figure out what you want and what you value.
Because that's going to end up driving a lot of, it's going to manifest in how you show up day to day. And Maddie, I want to thank you for constantly, you have been appearing at these panel programs as a volunteer over several years now. Thank you for continuing to do that because you care about young people.
I'm happy to do it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Mm.
VP, which of these topics, I know you can speak to any of these topics. You and I have worked together on some training sessions at different corporations. Well, which one you want to comment on?
Thanks, Fabian. I just wanted to acknowledge that, Maddie, that was spot on. Thank you for that. You gave me inspiration already. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to touch base with the one about managing priorities. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with the folks who are on the screen that the first couple of things I want to talk about are speaking to the young people and the students. And the other two I'd like to talk about are really speaking to the adults who are here trying to figure out and vet, like, is this the right thing? Is this the program that we need? I want to speak to I want to speak to you also. But the first two things for young people on this call, managing priorities. Maybe you've heard someone say this or maybe not, but I just want to be very clear. Being busy is not the same thing as being effective. Just because, well, at least I've got a head nod from all three of the people who are on the call right here. But just because you're busy does not mean that you're being impactful. And so managing priorities allow you to figure out what are the things that I want to do that I can have the biggest impact on my life or on the people around me. Sometimes we get caught up in, if I'm busy and someone says, hey, what are you doing? I'll say, I'm busy. Are you busy doing what? Are you busy being meaningful and impactful? Are you busy changing your life or your world? Are you busy being increasing your self-awareness, as Maddie just mentioned? Or are you just busy doing TikTok? Uh-oh, I touched the nerve there. Or busy on Instagram? Are we busy on our video games, or are we busy doing something and being effective? So managing priorities allow us to do that. I'm going to spend this amount of time with my video games because I love it, but I'm going to spend this amount of time on making myself better. So that's the first thing. Are you busy being effective, or are you busy just being busy? The other thing, young people, I'd like to share is that urgent doesn't always mean important. Just because something popped up and it was like, oh, this is what's hot right now, and this is what I need to spend my time on. Okay, so now what you have to do is ask yourself, wait a second, Is this important to me? Is someone else's emergency important to me? Yes, that's my family. That's my best friend. Absolutely. But just because someone else is having a crisis does not mean that that crisis is yours. You get to decide whether you want to earn that or take it on. You get to decide whether you want to own it or not. So those two things are super, super important when it manages priorities. And so all the folks on this call, I can see names, Janice and Jaden and Kevin and Liz. Are you being busy or are you being effective? Two other things. Two other things. These are mostly for the folks who are trying to vet this course. Like, is this a good program? Two other things to mention. Everybody look at your calendar because your calendar reflects your values. And if those values are not aligning with who you are, then you got to change something. You got to change the values or you got to change the calendar. One of those things has got to change. Your calendar reflects your values. So I already know what's a priority to you if you just show me your Outlook calendar. Fabian, if you open up your Outlook calendar right now and just let me take a look at it, I can tell you what your values are. You don't even have to tell me. Angelica, if you give me your Outlook calendar, I can tell you. So the same thing is true for everybody here. Look at your calendar. It tells us what your priorities are. Here's the last thing. Prioritization is not a one-time act. When we're managing priorities, it is a daily discipline. So don't think that you can manage priorities one day and be like, I've got it for the rest of my life. It's not true. So we're just trying to be practical with you in this program. We want you to recognize that you prioritizing one day does not mean that you've got the discipline down. And that's really what we want you to do. Manage the priorities or they're going to manage you. I hope that that makes sense.
You know, in the course, we also cover different strategies of how to stay organized. And so we talk about calendaring. And VP, you know me well enough where I schedule everything, even my drive time to my meeting, even my lunch break. I'll block it off. If I need to adjust it, I can adjust it to fit other meetings. I put everything down there. If it is not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. That commitment is not there. Uh, Maddie, I guess we'll just go back and forth to see where Maddie, where else would you like to go?
Yeah, I would love to discuss communication.
All
I am a
right.
social worker, so that's sort of my bread and butter there. A lot of what I do is meeting with folks from all sorts of different backgrounds, identities, opinions, even situations in life. I never know where they're coming from, what situations they're facing before I speak to them. One of the most important parts of my job is how I communicate, is making sure that when I'm talking to those folks, they feel comfortable talking to me. They feel welcome talking to me. And I think as a young professional, one of the things that oftentimes young people don't always, maybe they stumble with it, is communication. One of the most important things that you can do is just make sure that you are sharing information with the people around you. And when you're sharing that information with the people around you, doing so in a way that makes them feel supported, makes them feel welcome. And it also doesn't seem like you are saying something that you're not trying to say. When we think about when we're sending different messages, we don't want to just think about exactly what it says. We also want to think about the context around it. So think about your nonverbal cues if you're speaking in person. Think about the facial expressions you're making, how you're sitting, how your hands are. Think about a lot of those things, as well as think about the way that you're speaking. If you're in a situation where someone's in crisis or having a difficult day and you start just rapidly talking at them. Maybe you're using a really loud volume. You're speaking very quickly. That's going to feel really, really overwhelming. So it's not just what you say and the faces you're making, but it's also how you say it. So I really do think communication is one of those skills that no matter where you go in life, it's going to help you. It's going to help you in your personal life. It's going to help you in your professional life. It is used across so many different spaces. And I would highly recommend seeking out different education as well as, different key tips that you can use to explore more about your personal communication. You can always, and something that I've done is have people grade you. Go to your parent, go to your friend, go to your club advisor and ask them to have a mock conversation with you, maybe have a difficult conversation with them and have them rate how that went. That's a really great way to practice that as, you know, a tangible way to practice. But yeah, that's my key tip.
Thank you, Maddie. VP, the master communicator that I know. Go anywhere you want, but I would
I
love to hear
appreciate it.
you comment
I
and
appreciate it.
provide advice on communication because that is a remarkable skill of yours as well. Maddie, thank you for selecting that.
Really, really good. Really, I'm writing down stuff that Maddie is saying, so I'm just saying, I'm trying to learn too. Where I would like to go is presence. Presence. It's not something that is talked about a lot, but it is so very important. So let me just talk about this for a moment. Everyone who is listening, can you recall that time where you were in a social setting, a party, a wedding, some type of get together, and your back was to the door, and for whatever reason, someone walked in and you just knew to turn around and look. And they didn't say anything, they didn't come in boisterous, but something just made you say, the energy in the room shifted and you need to turn around to see what's going on. And no one even invited you to turn around and look. You likely are familiar with those times where that has happened to you. That's because the person who just walked into the room has presence. They didn't come in with cymbals or bass drums or trumpets. They just came in being very authentic, being confident in oneself, having some high self esteem. And they walk in, and the energy in the room can shift. And if it's not the whole energy of the room, maybe it's just the people around them, the energy shifts because they are there. That's called presence. Presence isn't about volume, it's really about being engaged. And so being practical, Fabian was talking about how we can use tools that are just practical. You can use them immediately. When it comes to presence, here's one of the things to be mindful of. Your energy introduces you before your words ever do. Your energy, what you bring to the room, what you bring to that classroom, what you bring to the basketball game, and just you exuding confidence and self-worth, that energy introduces who you are before you ever say a word. That's presence. I want you to eventually get to a place where you feel comfortable in your own skin, because when you are comfortable in your own skin, you automatically begin to give off presence. So you never have to really walk into a room and say, hey, I'm here. All you have to do is just walk in and be authentically you and let people authentically learn who you are. That's presence. Presence is built through being self-aware. Presence is built through being confident. Presence is built through having some fails in your life that you bounced back from, and you're still confident about who you are. That's presence. So this is so trite, what I'm about to say, so cliche, but so real. People remember how you make them feel. And that's about presence. So when you're around people and they are sharing stories that maybe wasn't all that great and maybe they had a bad day or a bad week, how you show empathy toward them builds presence. How you tell them that you're listening to them by repeating what they said. Fabian, this is what I think I heard you say. What I think I heard you say was that this is a 10-week program, and there's going to be some times that we're going to have opportunity to talk to some people who are doing this every day. The fact that I just responded back to him, letting him know that I heard him, is presence. So that is one of the things we want to work on. How do we build your presence? How do you build your own presence? It's a game changer. So yes, you may not be the person that walks into the room and everybody turns around and looks at you, but you can be the person that shows up for your friends and your family with presence. That's powerful.
That is powerful stuff, VP. And both of you, Maddie, VP, Angelica, you know that we do this conversation just like how y'all are listening in for double the time. All right. Let's take a minute each. I'm not going to show the slides of the 10 topics. Maddie, you go first. Just one final nugget of advice for those who are listening in. Maddie.
Yeah, if I could go back in time and speak to young Maddie, I would probably tell her to be true to herself. As a young professional, you oftentimes, or even a young person, you oftentimes feel like you don't have much to give in spaces. But you do. You have expertise. Don't let anyone tell you differently. We are all teachers and we are all learners all throughout life. You always have something to give and you always have something great. So don't ever forget that. That's the one thing that I wish more young people would kind of be told. Mhm.
Thank you, Maddie. VP.
That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. Here's what I would share as a final thought. Be intentional about surrounding yourself with people who don't look like you, act like you, talk like you, think like you. They don't worship like you. They don't love like you. They don't even TikTok like you. Be intentional about building trusting relationships with people who are not like you at all. It is going to be a game changer for you because you're going to get to see stuff and learn stuff about other people's lived experiences that you can't figure out on your own because it's not your lived experience. Your life becomes richer. Your life becomes so much more fun when you surround yourself with people who are not like you, even though that may be a little bit uncomfortable on the beginning part. But trusting relationships with those people will give you insights to the world that nobody else can give you. Lean into that.
And thank you, VP. And my one nugget is a build on what VP previously talked about. Practice remembering people's names. VP and Maddie too demonstrated that. Did you not get some kind of woken up a little bit when VP called out a couple of names from the list of participants? Now, how masterful was that, right? When you call out a person's name, you're not only getting the attention of the person that you're calling out, but the people who are all watching and listening. That you remember somebody's name, that you are precise and polished to be able to reference a person's name, because that's the most beautiful word a person knows is their name. Practice learning and reciting people's name and using it in your conversation. VP and Maddie, thank you both for your volunteer efforts. You always come back every now and again to the panel sessions. Come as often as you'd like. I know we all do this as volunteers because we treasure this wonderful time for these young people. All right, we're busy in our jobs and in our worlds and our private lives and all that, and the NSHS has gives us this special connection every now and again to these young people. Now, we're not leaving just yet. We still have more to offer. There may be some questions we might be able to fit in, say maybe for about 8, 9 minutes. Angelica?
Yes, great advice. I know that I was just taking in a lot of knowledge just from my peers, so thank you guys for contributing. We do have some questions. Um, I'll go into how to get into the program a little later. So for some of the people in the chat who are asking about it, I will get to that, and we have a great offer for you guys. But the first question I have is from Valentina. Is what is emerging skills slash qualities do you think will matter most in the next 3 years?
Hmm. Whoever speaks first. What a great question. Thanks for selecting that.
May I
Thank you for the
start?
question. Yeah, go for it, VP.
I'll share a couple of things. One is something that I think is likely hot on everybody's mind, but it is so important that we master it, and that is learning all of the AI apps that are out there. AI is so important in the world of work, no matter what industry you're in. And the more that you can learn about AI, the better you're going to be poised to be successful, be the professional you want to be. That's the first part. Go ahead and lean into AI. Don't run from it. Don't use it to do coursework, though. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, in the in the field, in the world of work, lean into AI, learn all of the apps and use them because you're going to need them. So that's the first part. The second part is somewhat of a recap of what I shared when I talked about getting to know some people who are not like you. The ability to be able to interact, the ability to have or demonstrate cultural competence is a skill. Knowing that the world is global, that you can work remote and still be able to interact with colleagues who are literally around the world, you're going to need to be culturally competent. So learn about other cultures, lean into being uncomfortable, and even learning other languages would be so important because both of those things are going to set you up for success in the next 2 to 3 years. And in fact, if you don't do those, you're going to actually be behind. So lean into those.
Thank you, VP. Angelica, should we go to another question? Or Maddie, do you have a quick build?
Yeah, I had a quick thought, kind of building off of what VP said, and also thinking more and more about my career. I started working as I started my first full-time job just after 2020. And I feel like my entire career has been built around the need to be flexible and adaptable. And I see that more and more so, especially when we're speaking about, getting used to technology like AI. um, a huge part of our jobs in this century is going to be constantly changing. The technology that I used at the start of my career in 2021 is different than some of the technology that I use now. I think more and more so, both the ways that we work, the places that we work, the people that we work with, it's going to be so constantly changing that I think the ability to be quick on your feet and be okay with change and sit in uncomfortability of change and be okay is going to be more and more important.
Let's have another question, Angelica. Who do you have that from?
So right now we're getting a lot of questions about the actual program itself,
Okay,
which
which
is
you were going to
great.
cover in the last 6, 7 minutes, right? So
Yes.
find something that would be more around the topics of success in the workplace, success beyond academics. Do you find one? If not, VP and Maddie and I, we can continue to talk and make sure we give you some more success
Oh,
tips.
I know
You got one?
there's a lot of questions about how to show up confidently in the
Oh yeah.
workforce when you feel like you're not meant or like you don't feel confident. So,
Yeah. And I'm going to embellish on that a little bit from last week's session with the current class cohort. So VP and Maddie, along the same lines, we had multiple inquiries last week when we were doing the longer session, the actual panel session, where many of the participants, I'd say probably at least 7 or so, had chatted that how do I carry on a conversation with someone? How do I that relationship that VP talked about that's so important, Maddie, it comes to you naturally because of your care and love for people, but not everybody comes with that automatic skill. It has to be learned, right? And it can be a learned skill to be able to have a conversation and build a relationship. Can we go there? Let's comment on that.
I would love to start with that one if that's all right.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that okay? Perfect. I will say being able to carry on a conversation, yes, I will say I always had somewhat of a natural aptitude toward it. My mom was a teacher. I grew up all around that community. She could talk forever. She needed to all day in class. So that's the environment I grew up in. But when I got to the social work world, being able to hold a conversation long term with a client, being able to ask the correct kinds of questions to get the true, the meat of what you want, is truly an art. One of the best things that you can do is ask open-ended questions. That means questions that aren't yes or no. So when you ask something like, "Did you eat dinner?" That's a yes or a no answer. That's not what we're looking for. You want to look for something like, "What did you eat for dinner tonight?" That's going to allow a much greater, more full conversation. From there, you can hear some information from them. And then from there, think about what you're interested in that conversation. What do you want to learn more about? When you're talking to that person, also think about how they feel. Do they look like they're enjoying that conversation? Was there one part of what they said they seemed really excited about? Ask a follow-up question about that specifically. It's really about understanding how to read others' facial expressions, their body language. If that is something that you struggle with, there's a ton of resources that you can get in order to learn what different cues look like. And again, do a mock conversation. That is something that I had to do all the time in social work school. At least that's what I call it, it's grad school. But when I was in social work school, we had to do mock conversations all the time. Sometimes we had to record ourselves doing those, and then we could review it back and think how it went. That is one of the best things that you can do. And as a quick thing, if you're thinking, where can I learn more about that? I highly recommend looking up informational interviewing. Um, it is a really, really great place to start.
Thanks, Maddie. VP, you got the final word on this.
Thanks, Fabian. Thanks, Maddie. That's good stuff. Angelica, you mentioned that one of the questions was about showing up. And so let me touch base on this because it's so simple. Well, that's not true. Simple is not the right way. But it is, here's an easy thing that you can do to really shore up how we show up. And that is to always come to the table prepared. What that means is if you're going to do an interview, go ahead and research that organization, find out about that organization, and come to that interview saying to them, I've researched the organization and here's what I have found. That is going to have them see that you're just not this fly-by-night person, that you're actually serious, and it has you show up differently in their eyes. The same thing is true for your parents. Come to the conversation prepared. Whatever that conversation is, as tough or difficult or not, come to that conversation saying, I've done my homework and here's the pros and cons that I've come up with and here's where I've landed. And so I'd really like to figure out what y'all's suggestion is or what your perspective is. And maybe if I even considered what your pros and cons are going to be. So I've already thought about them and here's what I'm going to share with you. You come prepared because what that does is it says to the person that you're talking to that this person has taken this interaction seriously, which gives you a whole lot of credibility immediately. Show up prepared, and you will always show up well.
Oh, good advice. Oh, thank you both. Angelica, I know you've got some business to finish up for us. All yours.
Yes, so we have some really great questions in the chat. But that's the great thing about this course. You'll be able to go through and it will help you discover some of the answers to these questions. And then also we have something like this that occurs throughout the course twice. So you'll be able to ask these questions to real world professionals, and it's just a great way to connect. So thank you guys for your questions. If you have any more, please feel free to email us or connect with one of our panelists in order to ask anything specifically. I know that they would love for you to reach out and connect. So I'm going to share my screen once more to talk a little bit more about the program and how you can access it. So we use a platform called D2L in order to do our program. In order for you to engage with the modules, you'll be able to engage with your peers. You'll be able to do just interact with real professionals and then also your peers. So this is just a little bit of a gift from us to you, a 15% off of the course. So you'll be able to go in and be able to take it. So in order to access the course, we have a QR code, but if you can access the QR code, you can go to our website at nshss.org, and under Be More, you'll see the Success Beyond Academics program, or you could just Google Success Beyond Academics program NSHSS, and it'll take you right to the course where you can learn a little bit more. So if you use the code webinar, you'll be able to get 15% off of the course, and be able to access the course where you'll be able to engage with not only real world professionals, but with content that will last a lifetime. You'll be able to use this knowledge throughout your whole entire professional career. So yeah, this is how you access the course. I know a couple of people were asking in the Q&A how to, and if you use this QR code, it'll take you right to the website.
Angelica, we do 4 of these cohorts a year. Is that correct?
Yes, we do
Yeah.
4 of these cohorts a year. We may be scaling down to 2 next year in
Okay.
order to just maximize, in order to get it
Hmm.
a little bit more honed in. But
Hmm.
as for right now, it's still 4.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the site right now from the QR code, you will notice that there's an upcoming cohort that is starting September the 8th. That will be the
Yes.
final cohort. When we say cohort, basically we have a firm start date for the 10 weeks. And so everybody that wants to sign up for it, that group of people will be together for those 10 weeks. Now, again, uh, each 1 hour module is self-directed. Anytime, whenever you're free, you have a whole week to complete that module. And then the second week, the second module opens up, and then you do that all throughout the 10 weeks. Oh, by the way, at the end of the 5th week, we'll meet on Zoom. Okay. And at the end of the 10th week, we'll meet on Zoom. All right. But throughout that 10 weeks, you also, and Angelica, you actually coordinate a discussion group, right? Tell us about that, because there's more to this than just this conversation, right?
One of the really great things about this program is that you get to engage with your peers through discussions. We have prompts at the end of each module that kind of ask a question in order for you to engage with it and to put some of your own thoughts down in the module, and then peers will respond. And then there's a whole entire dialogue within each module. And not only are you learning uh, these different skills, but you're also, one, giving advice to people in the cohort, and also you're gaining advice. So you get to give and be able to take away something from people who are also going through the same program as you, and then you'll get to see each other during the live sessions. So it's not only a way to go through the program and learn, but it's also a way to build your connection, to be able to connect with people on LinkedIn, in order to have a community of people who are going through the same thing at the same time. So that's one of the great things about this program, is that it's not just you going through it, but you'll be able to engage with the cohort as well.
It reinforces the learning, doesn't it? And remember what
Yes.
Maddie said in one of her comments? She said, practice. You've got to practice this stuff. Whether we're talking about leadership, whether we're talking about presence, whether we're talking about critical thinking, these courses and Angelica will be in the discussion groups challenging you to put these into practice right away. This is not meant to be an academic journey that you're going to be taking. It is going to be an active learning journey to better prepare you to show up in the workplace. And for some of you, that is an immediate application because you're in that part-time job or you're looking at an intern. You're maybe finishing up that summer internship and you're getting ready to go back into school where you've got that on-campus job. All of these skills. And remember what Maddie said, these skills you can practice beyond. Even at my age, I am still sharpening some of my skills in these areas. My friends, these are critical topics that are lifetime in their application.
Yes. And I want to highlight something that you said, which is that the next cohort is coming up on September 8th. So if you're interested, please sign up. Um, just because it's just a great program and you'll be able to take away not only advice or real world practical skills, but you'll be going away with a network. You'll be going away with a certificate with some just really great assets going into the professional world.
To each of you that dialed in, oh my gosh, I'm using the word dialed in, dating me, that joined us on this call. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed and learned a few things from our panelists, Maddie and VP. Appreciate you both. Angelica closes out.
Yes, if you have any questions, please email us at sba@nshss.org. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. So please email us if you have questions. Again, it's sba@nshss.org, and we're happy to help in any way. Okay, have a great night, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for calling in.